Good afternoon. This is Irving Steele, your host of Local Issues. And today we are jumping deep into the issue of housing. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs puts housing at the very base, the fundamental need of human beings. And without housing, it's really hard to be an active, contributing member of society. And so without that, it's really difficult and challenging to do anything in our community. And so we're really grateful for organizations like we have on today, H.O.P.E, Inc., led by Executive Director Stacey Smith, who is really helping to support more in terms of affordable housing throughout southeastern Connecticut. So welcome, Stacey. So great to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So I'm really curious that it seems like right now we have lots and lots of new developments, houses, buildings, apartments going up all over southeastern Connecticut, whether it's in New London, where I believe H.O.P.E is based, but also throughout the whole region. I'm curious, how much of that do you think is dedicated towards affordable housing?
Well, I don't know the exact number, but I know it's not enough. We're in a housing crisis right now, and it's very difficult to provide affordable housing. There are incentives out there, but there aren't a lot. And right now, with the rents the way they are, it's tempting, I think, for landlords to get as much as humanly possible for them, you know, at rates that are, I've never seen rates this high, you know. It gets worse every day.
Yeah, it seems you look around at different apartments, maybe one bedroom or two bedroom apartment in the area, you can go from anywhere from maybe $1,000 all the way up to over $2,000 easily to have a small little place that, if you're making minimum wage or something like that, close to that, and if you have a family, you're trying to buy groceries, different things, it makes it nearly impossible to have some kind of housing where you can still pay the bills. Is that right?
Absolutely, and the magic number is 30%. You don't want your housing costs to be more than 30% of your income.
Okay.
And right now, 50% and above is what most houses are costing people.
So if someone's bringing home, let's say, $2,000 a month in salary, that'd be saying they're spending about $1,000 a month on their housing. They're about 50% right now is the average.
Yeah, think about all the people you know who's paying less than $1,000 for their house right now.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult. And at H.O.P.E, we help the working poor. That's actually the people that we focus on. We don't have people in our program that are on Section 8 or that are getting housing vouchers. These are people that are putting everything they have out there, and we're just making the rents affordable for them so that they can feel good about themselves, they can be a contributing member to society, and we can get them set up to become homeowners.
That's great. And you say the working poor. So these, a lot of the people that you're working with and that you're helping, they have jobs, maybe 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And even with that, they're having a difficult time even paying the rent. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Normal rents.
Normal rent.
I mean, our rents are designed to be, HUD has income limits, AMIs, and we are 50 and below. Affordable housing is set up that you need to be 80% or below to HUD AMI, and that's the average median income. And we don't have anybody right now that makes more than 50% that's in our program.
Okay. So then how does that work? Can you explain more kind of what H.O.P.E does and kind of how the whole program functions to be able to provide this rent for a little bit cheaper?
It happens to be my favorite topic.
Yeah, you talk about it day and night.
I
I'm
do.
sure.
I love it, though. It's my new passion.
And before you jump into it, congratulations. I understand you're the new Executive Director at H.O.P.E, so
I
congratulations.
just took over June 1st. Thank you.
June 1st, great.
Yeah,
so,
my predecessor was there for 35 years, so
okay.
It was a big job to take on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So H.O.P.E actually has 3 prongs. So we have just affordable rentals, where we help extremely low and low-income families. So it's just apartments that they rent at a low-income price, okay? Then we have what's called our Renard program, which is a rent-to-own program. With this program, we have the same affordable rentals, but we take a percentage of their rent and we put it aside for them in an interest-bearing account. So when they leave us to become homeowners, they have a down payment set aside for them as well. So in addition to anything they're saving on their own. Now with that program, it's actually awesome because we're not only setting them up to be able to save some money and to live comfortably in a safe house, but we're also partnering with Chelsea Groton Bank and providing them classes for first-generation homeowners. So for people that have never been in a family or grown up or were raised in a home environment, they've been in rentals their whole lives, this is a different world for them, and we're setting them up for success. Classes like budgeting and managing your finances and improving credit or establishing credit, and then we're going to go deeper into how to be a first-time homeowner, because it's a little different. If your furnace goes, you can't call the landlord. It's a completely different world. Mm-hmm. And then my favorite part that I'm just getting to do now is the Hope Houses.
Okay, what is that?
That is where we, with the help of a tax credit program offered by HTCC and CHFA, they provide income tax credits to companies on a one-for-one basis. So whatever they donate, they can write off. So the government allows $11 million toward this program. And we're lucky enough that Eversource has purchased all the tax credits. So we don't have to find companies that want to do this. They've been so generous and they do all of them. So we've, each company, each nonprofit can get up to $500,000 a year. And we use that money to build Hope Houses. We supplement that with the sale of other houses that we've done with a revolving account. And for each house we build, so say it costs us $500,000, $550,000, we'll sell that for $200,000. So we'll use tax credit money, donations, and revolving project money, and we'll build these houses and then sell them to people who normally would never be able to afford a beautiful, sustainable home. But they're in a neighborhood that's been revitalized. We've turned lifetime renters into first-time homeowners, tax-paying citizens. It's just kind of a whole beautiful ecosystem.
That's awesome. And for this last section with the Hope Houses, I understand you have quite a few of these houses that you've done so far, is that right?
Yeah, Hope has done 45 houses to date. I'm doing my first.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then I imagine there's a lot of people who you hear of a $500,000 house going for $200,000 or $250,000. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are jumping for that opportunity. How does that work?
Well, first, right of refusal will happen with the people that are in our program. Mm-hmm.
Who are already renting.
Correct. They're renting from us in the program to become homeowners. So those are the people that we target to give these houses to. Now in the past, we haven't always had somebody ready, in which case it just goes out to the general public, but you have to qualify. Your income can't be higher than, we haven't actually sold one to anyone higher than 50% to the median income.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that's the biggest crux, that's the challenge, is that people are working, but their income just isn't high enough to afford houses? Is that what's holding back the homeownership?
That's a huge part of it, sure. Mm-hmm. It's also that, the housing prices are very high and incomes are low, and even if they could afford to buy a $200,000 house that's just a regular $200,000 house, you're talking about maintenance, you're talking about, there are going to be a lot of things wrong with it. It's not going to be a brand new home, or it might be in an area that's, extremely unsafe, mm-hmm. But we've done, at this point, 20 houses on Belden Street alone, so we've completely revitalized the entire neighborhood. Wow. And now it's kind of an awesome place to live, the crime rates have gone down substantially. Mm-hmm. It's just been kind of a great success story.
And a lot of the people who move into these houses, they stay there for a while, I imagine.
Oh yeah, these houses are deed restricted
Okay.
for
What does
30
that mean?
years.
30 years.
hmm So they have to be homeowner occupied. Excuse me. They have to be homeowner occupied. They, most
By
of
the
them,
same owner, or they could sell it to somebody else?
if they sell it, they can only sell it for tiny bit above what they paid for it. So
Okay.
every year, it's like 5% above what they paid, so that they can't turn around and sell one of these houses that they just
Make
bought for
double the
200. Yeah,
profit.
they can't do that. So they're deed restricted that way as well. So these are going to remain affordable for 30 years.
Okay.
And most of them, we put up 2-family houses. So the homeowner has the opportunity to not only supplement their income with a rental unit, but they can also pay it forward. They can also provide a low-income apartment for someone else.
That's great. I was just hearing the other day that is sometimes the easiest or a strategy for people when they're first trying to have home ownership is to go into these multi-family houses,
Yeah,
because then they can use part of the house as rent to pay off some of the mortgage.
absolutely. That's my husband's been. Every young person he talks to, he says, buy a duplex, let somebody else pay your mortgage for you. Yeah, it's a smart way to do it. And what we found with some of our applicants is that they are multi-generational families.
Living together.
Yeah, so whether we build a single family and they all share in the expenses, or they take advantage of the extra apartment, either way, they're keeping it in the family, so to speak.
Okay. What would you say to people who hear about this program and they say, I just bought a house down the street for market value at $500,000. How are you offering this for half the price to somebody else? That it's an economy here that, how is it half price for them and same price for me? What would you respond to someone saying that?
It's based on income. I mean, that's the entire thing of what we're trying to do here. HOPE stands for Housing Opportunities to Promote Equity. To make it fair and equitable for everyone, this is what's required. Just because somebody doesn't have the education, wasn't raised with the same opportunities, doesn't mean they don't deserve the same opportunities. So we're leveling the playing field, and anybody would be thrilled to live next door to a HOPE house. We're raising property values everywhere. That can't be a bad thing.
Can't be a bad thing for the streets, for the towns, for the cities, all of that.
Or for the guy next door who bought his house for $500,000. It's still a beautiful neighbor he's got next door to him. And driving down the street, driving down Belden Street, you can see the pride of homeownership. The first time I drove down there, I was watching people take their garbage out to the curb, and then there was someone else who was playing in the flower bed, and it was just, it was every neighborhood, it was like every beautiful little neighborhood you grew up in. So
that's beautiful.
yeah, it's nice to be able to give that to someone who never thought they'd be able to have it.
Definitely, because if you think of some of these people who were renting in the past, and every single month they're just taking the money and basically throwing it out the window. They aren't building any kind of net worth or equity in any real estate, which for a lot of our population seems like that's kind of the foundational element to kind of start to build some wealth for their family.
Right, that's it. Generational wealth. They're able to build that for the first time. And that's actually what I love about our Renard program, is that right out of their rent, we're taking a portion of that and saving it for them. And we work with a lot of local mortgage brokers, and they are aware of all of the down payment assistance and anything that can also help them get a leg up when they go to buy their first home.
That's awesome. Because there's different programs out there, whether it's FHA with 3 or 3.5% for down payment, and I think I heard about another program last week that they're trying to push for a 1% down payment program. So people are fearful of maybe the initial payments of buying a house, but there's programs to support that as well.
Yeah, FHA allows 3% right now as a
Okay.
down payment. And with the down payment assistance, with the City of New London and the federal mixed, they were getting up to $25,000 as a forgivable down payment assistance loan.
That's amazing. And I think the state of Connecticut also had, I'm not sure if the program is still going on now post-COVID or what the stages we're in right now, but I think there was a program to support down payments for houses as well in Connecticut too. So it seems like there's a lot of programs to support that.
There are, and you know, if you work with someone knowledgeable in the area and what H.O.P.E.'s needs are, you know, then they help you a great deal.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've got a lot of excellent partners out there that help us.
That's great. And some of the partners we were talking about right before we came on camera was at your last ribbon cutting ceremony. You had some wonderful political leaders in the community coming out to support this cause. Is that right?
We did. We had State Representative Anthony Nolan, and we had Mayor Michael Passero, and we had some of our really excellent donors too. You know, Eversource, we wouldn't exist without them, and Yale New Haven L&M Hospital, they donated for us this year, and they attended the ribbon cutting, the groundbreaking ceremony, as did Buttermore's LLC, and it was a great day.
That's awesome. And I imagine for sure a lot of these organizations, they have a strong social element that they want to support the community.
Yeah.
But also from a financial perspective, your organization is a 501c3. And so if they donate and they support, a lot of this can be tax write-offs for their organization. Is that right?
Correct. I'd like to change legislation that 100% was, but
Yeah.
that's tomorrow's job, I guess.
Yeah. But I do understand you have been making some good progress on how affordable housing is taxed. Is that one project that you've kind of been working on?
I haven't made any great progress on it, but absolutely, yeah. I've been meeting with some other local nonprofits, and the city has been an amazing partner for us, New London, but they're bound by rules. They're bound by what legislation has, you know, put in place for them. So, you know, the tax assessor charges what the tax assessor can charge, and zoning is held fast by zoning regulations. So I think to push the envelope and make it a little bit easier to provide affordable housing, it's going to start with changing the legislation. You know, it's going to require us to ease up on some zoning restrictions and take into consideration different things for real estate taxes. It's going to take a little bit more than just what we're doing now. It's gonna take a little bit more to move the needle, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know the exact figures, but I saw something, state of Connecticut, I think right now maybe has about 2,000 homeless people is what they estimate the amount of people without housing at all. I know in East Lyme the estimates are maybe 8 or 10 people right now. And these are people with no housing at all. And then other people who are maybe living in hotels week to week. And people, if they're in a hotel, they're not paying the real estate taxes. They're not really supporting the local economy. So it sounds like some of what you're doing is able to help transition some of these people from week-to-week rentals or month-to-month rentals to longer-term, more sustainable, safer, better housing.
Yeah, it's funny because it really is the exact opposite of what a normal landlord-tenant relationship would be. I want to take the very best tenants and kick them out to go buy a house. Yeah. You know, usually a landlord wants to hold on to the very best tenants for the rest of their lives, but that's not benefiting them. It's not benefiting the neighborhood. It's not benefiting the city or the state. You need homeowners. They need to, and just the feeling, you know, you get of owning your own home. Everybody should have that, you know. So it's a joy to be able to give that to somebody.
That's great. And I'm curious, what are some of the big challenges that you're facing right now? Is it finding the tenants? Is it finding the buildings, finding the properties, finding partners in the community? Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Well, it's certainly not finding the tenants.
No.
My phone rings off the hook every day for the stories that just destroy you listening to them, it's horrible. We've got way more than enough need. Challenges are always finding enough money and finding enough availability. We've kind of, it's not that H.O.P.E did this, but say Belden Street. The city used to be able to give H.O.P.E a property, take it, fix it, and then they could rehab a property and sell it, and you'd get a homeowner. Now, the last property that we got on Belden Street cost us $180,000 to buy. So because the neighborhood has come up so much, the property values have come up so much, and the city doesn't have any more blighted properties to just give away to fix. Land costs a lot more, and it's very scarce. So these are huge challenges because you're starting so far back in the negative before you can go to the positive. It used to be you started kind of at ground zero and went from there. Now you're starting minus $180,000 to put your house up. And of course, lumber has doubled in the last 4 years. Everything's gone up. It's gone up exponentially, but we can't keep up with the need. The need has gone up higher than everything else and faster than everything else.
So the pipeline of people needing these places just continues to grow and outpaces what you're able to do and perform for the housing.
Yeah, and I've been told the city of New London is facing a time now where a lot of the deed restricted properties are aging out. So we might even lose those, because if those deed restrict out and are sold for market value, and there's no more rule to keep them affordable, then we're really it's not gonna get any better. It's gonna get a lot worse.
I mean, is there a way to contact, I don't know, maybe Senator Blumenthal or Senator Murphy or people in Hartford that, I think last year Connecticut had, what, $350 million surplus in the budget. Is there a way to tap into some of the resources that our state government has? Have you pursued that path at all?
Well, there is an RFP that's coming up for the City of New London, a chance. I think they've got some ARPA money that I think they are going to allot to affordable housing. And if that does happen, that will be a big help, because that'll be an amount that's closer to the tax credit money. It's difficult to amass a lot of money. We've got amazing donors and every dollar helps, but it's difficult to amass the amount of money that you need to put up a house in Connecticut. I've begun speaking, as I said, with the Representative Nolan. When I spoke with him at the groundbreaking, and I outlined some ideas I had, with easing up on zoning restrictions and taking into consideration for tax purposes if someone is, providing affordable housing, especially without government assistance for rent, that this would make it more palatable for people to provide affordable housing. It could grow a little bit quicker. So I've begun that, and I'm just going to be in talks with Senator Marks about the same thing. I haven't yet gone to Blumenthal, but he'll be next on the list.
Just keep going, I'm
sure. Just climbing up the ladder.
Yeah, and I mean, we can talk about that too, that it doesn't seem so much of really a left-wing issue or a right-wing issue, that it's kind of more of a community issue. I remember you were telling a story about someone you work with who was extremely one side politically, and you thought maybe at first they would be against this idea, or hey, this is just people on welfare, these are poor people, I don't care about them. But it's actually something that almost unites people from all areas of the political spectrum to help provide this housing for people. Is that what you're seeing as well?
I am, and there's been just a misconception about affordable housing for years. I think when people think affordable housing, they think there's going to be a project or a ghetto in their neighborhood. They just don't see it as you're taking a blighted area and turning it into a place that anybody would feel proud to live in without gentrifying it. You're not kicking out the people that would normally be able to afford to live there. You're giving them a better life there, you know. And when you explain to people, especially with our program, that you still have to qualify for a mortgage. Mm-hmm. You still have to have a credit score that will allow you to get a mortgage. You still have to have income that will allow you to get a mortgage. You know, we're helping the people while they're renting get to that point, but they have to be at that point before they can buy a H.O.P.E. house. It's not a give out. It's not a handout. It's not a giveaway. They have to earn it. Mm-hmm. They have to want it and they have to earn it.
Mm-hmm. Because then down the road, it'll be them paying that mortgage on the house. It's not just giving a whole house away like that.
100%. They become a homeowner. We've just given them the leg up that they didn't have when they were born. When they were born into apartment living, they didn't have generational wealth accumulated. Their parents were not able to leave them a house when they passed or leave them a savings account when they passed. They've just worked their whole lives. This is where they're at, and we're just helping them get to that next level.
Mm-hmm. Great. So we are just about a minute left on the show, and I'm curious for people who are interested to help you, help H.O.P.E., help this whole issue of housing throughout our community. Can you provide more information? How would they get in contact with you? How would they support H.O.P.E.? Maybe you can provide some more details on that.
Well, in addition to the QR code that you guys are going to be putting up for us where they can donate, our website is hopenewlondon.org, and we're on Instagram at Hope New London, and we're on Facebook, Hope New London 2023. And all of those places have ways that they can donate.
Okay, great. Well, we're really thankful for all that you are doing and all that H.O.P.E. is doing, and hopefully the community can come together even more to provide the most basic need of housing for people. So thank you so much for being a guest on the show today, Stacey.
Thank you. Anything for H.O.P.E.